Do you think he should have got the jet? Yes. I I full 100% believe he should have got the jet. For those that don't know what we're talking about, the Pepsi jet controversy was back during an old campaign that Pepsi was running for marketing. They had this thing where it was a commercial that would show Pepsi points and what you get. And here, it's right here in the thumbnail. The final one, which was supposed to be a joke, is you can get a Harrier fighter for 7 million Pepsi points. 7 million they thought was like an unachievable amount of Pepsi points that no reasonable person would ever do, so they thought it was like too high of a number, so no one would do it. But one madman who actually had enough money was able to spend, I don't remember how much, but hundreds of thousands, I believe, in order to get enough Pepsi points where he had the 7 million and demanded that they give him his Harrier jet that they advertised. So it ended up going to court where it went to trial. It was 700,000 that he spent. Okay, nice. And a Harrier jet's worth like fucking 30, 40 million or something crazy. So he thought it was like a great money-making idea. It went to trial because they wouldn't give him the jet, obviously. And it was eventually ruled that nobody in their right mind would have ever truly expected Pepsi to deliver that jet. It was always a joke, thus he's fucked. But I do think he had a good point. There was no disclaimer on the ad. Really, there's no reason why you would think it's a joke. Like, it does really seem like they'd give you like a Harrier jet if you just watch the ad. It's just blatantly false advertising then, because it's not like a clear joke. Like, I'll briefly show the commercial. But here, it's just going through like everything you get with Pepsi points.
Introducing the new Pepsi Stuff Catalog. Now, the more Pepsi you drink, the more great stuff you're going to get.
Sure beats the boss.
Like, it's just, there's no disclaimer that says it's, you know, an exaggeration or the Harrier jet's not really there. I think it's totally fair to be like, huh, 7 million points is a lot, but that's a Harrier jet. He should have deserved something. This is just blatantly false advertising. Afterwards, they eventually increased the number of Pepsi points and then said it was a joke. So that way the confusion would never again rear its ugly head. But they didn't in the beginning. So the fault is on them. They should have at least paid him what a Harrier jet would have cost. Like, he deserves something. He had fucking investors go in with him to get enough Pepsi points for this shit. He's the resub Patriot, Can, Keegan, Frog, Newt, and the Prime Dumbass, and Dan. Oh, I forgot to listen to AJR last night. Thanks the resub Suddenly in the Prime Cephas. Was it a rich man or a madman? A little from column A, a little from column B. He had a decent chunk of money to his name, but then he also had investors come in with him. Thanks the resub Choctaw. And the resub sound. Thoughts on the World Cup? I haven't really been watching. FIFA's beyond corrupt. Fuck FIFA. But apparently the World Cup's been enjoyable so far for the people that have been like actively watching. I haven't been. I usually do, but this year I just haven't had much interest because of the whole Qatar situation stuff. Kind of killed all the hype for it. Huge congrats to the U.S., though, tying against England. A tie should be a loss for England. Well, it is, like, socially. Oh my god, I saw so many, like, doom posts from a lot of people upset about the tie. That was basically a huge L for them. America was celebrating like crazy for a tie, and meanwhile, they were kicking sand and very upset. I did see a stat posted that was floating around. It was a pretty popular post. I don't know if it's accurate, but apparently England has never beaten the US in a World Cup. Apparently we won in like the 70s and then we tied in 2010 and now we've tied again. I don't know if that's accurate or not. But if so, that's kind of a really enjoyable statistic to hear cuz they get very ferocious about their football. And I think in the US, soccer is like the fourth or fifth most popular sport, if that. That might even be generous. It's just not huge here. Exhibits Tory and donuts. They said the loser of USA England had to keep James Corden. It was a draw, I know, so now he's just locked in limbo. Now we unfortunately have to keep fucking sharing him. I haven't seen too much from that Tory, but I have heard. Thanks to Resub Hammer and Nate. And the Resub regular. And the Bits dogs. I haven't seen much of that dogs. And thanks to the Resub Kebab. Yeah, I saw Kate. Have any tips for streaming and getting views? It's gonna boil down to mostly luck. The only thing you can control is consistency. Or if you're rich, you could like inflate your shit by doing giveaways. But apart from being like super rich to start, it's just gonna boil down to kind of a luck of the draw. Or being extremely good at a game gives you a huge advantage right away. If you're like a top ranked player, you'll find an audience.